Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're at the NCAA convention in Phoenix, Arizona. My guest today is Denise Thompson. She is the Senior Assistant Athletic Director at Manhattan College, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So usually, like the last time, you came last year.
Yes.
I usually start my guest where you went to school, so where'd you go to college?
The one and only Fairleigh Dickinson University and the TNET campus.
All right. So let's just go into what you're doing at Manhattan College. So as the Senior Assistant Athletic Director, what's your position? What do you actually do in the position? And what are you doing at Manhattan College?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm the Senior Assistant AD where I oversee external, and I also serve as our Senior Woman Administrator. So what that means is I'm overseeing communications, marketing, sponsorships, ticketing, anything that is external and out-facing for the athletic department is what I have my hand in. And then also where the SWA role comes into play is mental health, diversity, equity, inclusion, and student-athlete well-being. So it's a little bit of a mixture of external, internal that allows me to be a little bit well-rounded.
Oh, fantastic. And what brings you to the NCAA conference this year?
Really much the same thing. They had a lot of focus on mental health this year and wellness, which we thought that was really well at Manhattan College. We are really looking at expanding that for not only our student athletes, but also our staff and coaches as well. So any little bit of tidbit of how people are doing it, maybe some programs as well, are beneficial. There's also some pretty good stuff on the DEIB now, so diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, which is something that I have my hand in at Manhattan College, and really trying to see what can we do more of, what are other people doing. As I always say, don't start it from scratch, right? Just take a little bit from everyone else and kind of shape it for yourself. So those are really two of the main topics of being able to be here and trying to enhance anything and bring it back to Manhattan.
So what have you found that you're actually going to bring back to Manhattan College?
Yeah, I think for the DEI part, it's the belonging. A lot of the colleges and universities right now are focusing on the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging brings everything full circle. So I think that is one of the main parts that I was doing and trying to figure out how do you take that so that every student, athlete, coach, and staff member feels like they belong at Manhattan College, that they have a place, and that it is an open way for them to communicate whether it is a concern and or just maybe a positive outlook for something there as well. So in the DEI landscape, that is something that I thought fared well here. And when it goes to the mental health and well-being, I think it's more something where you have to do a little bit more of wellness checks. Mental health is good. There's a lot of different apps right now going around, but how do you get it so that the student athletes actually feel comfortable in talking to you and or talking to some form of sports psychologist to help you? So
do you have all of that at Manhattan College? Do you have those sports psychologists there and things of that
We
sort?
have a psychologist that happens to work with our student athletes, and right now we are working on with an organization to be able to bring more of that mental health specifically for the student athletes to our campus.
So now, what do you do with the SWA? Are you on the board? Is it part of something that you're doing?
Well, that's where the DEI falls in there. Title IX, making sure there's equity across the board, inclusion across the board, whether that comes to how many female sports we have compared to male sports, making sure that our count is full circle, but then also making sure that people are feeling like they have a comfortable space to talk. So whether that is helping on the academic side and making sure that everyone is on track for graduation, also in a sense of how are we working with student life. So student life has a lot of different parts where it's student engagement, it's also multicultural center, and it's also residence life. So I'm able to work with those entities on campus to make sure our students' needs are met, but then also how can those departments help us, whether it comes to game day atmosphere, whether it comes to education preseason and or postseason, and then making sure throughout the year that all of those things are working together to see where we can benefit from.
Now, as a freshman student athlete coming to Manhattan College, what can they expect going there? Give me a year's worth of what a freshman's going to go through. Do they come in August? Do they come in September? When does it all start for them? What are they going to do throughout the year?
Yeah, well, depending on your sport, you might come in and say a June and July and do some summer classes. But for the most part, all of our student athletes report in August because that is where school starts. So at Manhattan College, we do a nice welcome back barbecue where we get everybody to come out. This past school year, it was at a men's soccer game. So they got to watch a game on the first day of school and also have a barbecue. We passed out T-shirts that were student athlete only for them to kind of get that nice welcome to Manhattan feel. A lot of the times throughout the year, when we're doing that, we're also encouraging them to support each other at each other's games. So that's very beneficial. Also, our student athlete advisory committee is very hands-on. So we're doing a lot of things to give back to the community. We're doing a campus cleanup, breast cancer awareness walk, working with the New York Marathon, giving back to local charities, American Cancer Society. So we're doing things that are philanthropic as well. And then also making sure that on the academic portion that you are meeting with your academic advisor, that you are getting tutoring if you need it, and making sure that you are staying track, of course, on your course of graduation, but then also your needs of being able to then be eligible to compete. Right, so making sure your athletic training is there, strength and conditioning as well, and making sure that your schedule isn't overloading so much that you don't get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. What do you do to help them with time management? Because that's a big thing at the college level, right? You have the sport, you have school. So what do you do to help in that area?
We really try and keep their schedules the same. So we're trying to keep it like if you're women's basketball and let's say your practice is at 8 to 10 a.m., we're making sure that it's 8 to 10 a.m. every day, right? That helps with your sleep schedule so that you know what time you should be going to sleep, what time you're waking up, and then you know that you're going to have classes after 10. So the bulk of your classes might be 10 to later, or someone else might have practice in the middle of the day, and then it's broken up. So trying to keep consistency when it comes to practice schedules, as well as that consistent portion of when you're meeting with your academic advisor and or study hall hours as well. So trying to filter all of those in. You already have dining hall hours, which are set. So hopefully by the time you go to class for your class schedule, you have practice, you're able to eat, then you know what time you need to go to sleep in order to start it all over again.
Now, how many sports are at Manhattan College?
We have 19 Division I varsity sports.
Wow.
Yes.
So can you give us a sense of, I mean, I don't know if you can rattle off all 19, but.
Oh, let's see. Men's and women's cross country, women's volleyball, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's basketball, women's rowing, softball, baseball, indoor and outdoor, men's and women's track and field, golf, men's and women's lacrosse. Hopefully I said baseball, softball, men's and women's swimming and diving.
Wow.
If I forgot one, I'm sorry.
Now, rowing. Are they rowing in the Hudson River?
No, it's a little bit of in New Jersey as well as in New York, just kind of depending on where the boathouse is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, that is a big river next to New York. So a big question that I always get from parents and students is cost of university. Mm-hmm. What does Manhattan College do? Are every single sport like fully funded sports? Do they get scholarships for everything? Is there other monies involved? Can they get other monies? How does it all work at the school?
They're all an equivalency, right? So all equivalency sports, some have more scholarships to divvy out than others. So you might have, let's say, 7 full scholarships, but you're divvying that out, let's say, amongst 14 people, right? So 14 people who might get 50%. One of the great things at Manhattan is you are able to have academic aid as well. So a lot of our student athletes, because they have the right grade point average coming in, a lot of them are an academic scholarship. So that is the benefit of being for us in the athletic department, to be able to couple their academic scholarship as well as some athletic aid in it to get to where they need to be.
Now, give us a sense of Manhattan College. What is it like? What's the atmosphere?
Yeah.
Where is it actually located in Manhattan?
So it's not in Manhattan, which is a funny thing. So it is in Riverdale, so we are in the Bronx. We are right across from the famous Van Cortlandt Park off of Broadway. So if you're a big runner or anything like that, if you know where Van Cortlandt is, you know where Manhattan is. We are steadied up on a hill, so you honestly can't miss us as soon as you come down. You see the big banner that says, "Welcome to Manhattan College." It is, to me, a quaint, small, private college, but right in the heart of the city, so it is great for a sense of if you need to go down to the city, the train is right there. You can get there nonstop. If you need to go up to, let's say, a White Plains or somewhere, you're also close proximity, whether that's an Uber, Lyft, or car drive away. But it is centrally located in the Bronx.
Great, fantastic. Well, we're coming to the end of our show, and usually I ask my guests, just like I did last year to you, what advice do you want to give to parents and students? What advice you want to give them on going to college?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say find a home that feels like home, right? Make sure that you have a checklist of the things that you want. I feel like one of the big things where students are leaving schools is because of a major. Make sure that if you are really intent on the major that you want, that that school has that major. Make sure that the class size is what you want. Not everybody, works well in a 100 lecture hall type classroom. Some people like the small settings of 25 to 30 kids in a room. So definitely looking at those two. Are you looking for more of a commuter school, or are you looking for more of a residential? That plays a big part in how many activities are on campus throughout the day and throughout the week for schools versus if you're predominantly commuter. So when I think of major, think of location, how close are you to home, how far are you from home? And obviously cost of attendance is always a big one, but I always want to say, please go somewhere where you think that they are going to be able to benefit you after college, whether that's internship programs, so see what businesses and organizations that they have partnerships for you to be able to do an internship while you're in college that will help aid you to get a job upon graduation.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming on again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.